It was a July morning in 2025, and the Johnson family had one goal: survive, or at least outlast the vultures, at Disney's Animal Kingdom. The mission? Safari, snacks, and selfies, plus not passing out from heat stroke before noon. The enemy? The soul-melting, clothes-sticking, unforgiving heat of Central Florida. Basically the closest you can get to the surface of the sun without signing a waiver. Dad, Anthony, 42, certified dad joke machine, and SPF enthusiast, rolled up in his cargo shorts and an "I'm just here for the snacks" t-shirt, armed with 3 bottles of SPF 1000 and a Camelback filled with electrolytes and anxiety. He looked ready for either a family vacation or a nuclear meltdown. Mom, Jessica, 39, trip planner and family MVP, was already chugging her second iced coffee, clutching a laminated itinerary that had more colors than a Pixar storyboard, and more contingency plans than a doomsday prepper. Liam, their 13-year-old son, was too cool for sunscreen and wore a black hoodie because, style doesn't sweat. Spoiler, he did. By noon, he'd be sweating out his will to live. He also insisted on vlogging everything for his over 100,000 TikTok followers, half of whom were probably just bots and his grandma. And Willow, the 4-year-old who believed she was a Disney princess, arrived in full Elsa gown, tiara, glitter shoes, and a wand that doubled as a very aggressive weapon in crowds. She was ready to rule the park, or at least leave a trail of bruised ankles. "I'm ready to talk to the animals," she declared, as if she were the Disney Dr. Dolittle, except with more glitter and a higher body count for stuffed animals. 9:15 a.m. Pandora, the world of dehydration, or as Anthony called it, the place where hope goes to sweat itself to death. They started with Flight of Passage, where Anthony cried a little from joy, finally a moment of happiness before the sun finished slow roasting his soul. "That ride is better than our honeymoon," he whispered, as Jessica considered whether she could trade him for a working air conditioner. Jessica didn't respond. She was too busy trying to keep Willow from licking the queue railings and catching a new strain of theme park plague. Liam, who boasts over 100,000 followers, even if half are probably bots, got mad when the ride broke down halfway, as if the universe itself was trolling him. Mid-air avatar crash. "Not cool, Disney, not cool," he said to his 100,000 plus followers, who, let's be honest, are probably at least 50% bots anyway. The family stepped back into the sun and were immediately slapped by a humidity wave so thick it could suffocate optimism. "We just walked into someone's armpit," Anthony muttered, wondering if this was how it felt to be slowly poached alive. 11:30 a.m. Expedition Sweat, sponsored by the Florida Department of Regret. Despite Jessica's best efforts, the group ended up on Expedition Everest during peak heat, because why not add heat stroke to the itinerary? Willow, still convinced she could reason with wild creatures, yelled, "Stop being grumpy!" at the Yeti, who looked like he'd also given up on life. Liam, determined to keep his 100,000 plus followers, bots and all, impressed, kept his hoodie on. "Bro, it's part of the fit," he said, just before nearly passing out and becoming a cautionary tale for future tourists. Cast members offered him a cooling towel, possibly as a last-ditch effort to avoid paperwork. He refused. "I'm fine, it's just atmospheric," he insisted, as his brain cells began to evaporate. Meanwhile, Anthony discovered his deodorant had lost the will to live and was now just a faint memory, like his dignity. 1 p.m. lunch and regret. The kind of regret you only feel when you realize you're about to eat hot BBQ in a place that feels like the inside of a hairdryer. They stopped at Flame Tree BBQ because nothing says beating the heat like eating meat that's been slow cooked in the same weather you're standing in. The pulled pork was great. It was the only thing not sweating. The outdoor seating under the shady pergola, less great. It was like eating lunch in a sauna, but with more screaming children. Anthony looked like a rotisserie chicken, if the chicken was questioning all its life choices. "My sweat has sweat," he mumbled, chugging water like a dehydrated camel in Vegas who just lost all his chips and his will to live. Willow refused her kids' meal because princesses don't eat pork, they dine on cupcakes. Also, she's apparently on a strict sugar-only diet. A cast member brought her one, probably to avoid a royal tantrum that would have cleared the park faster than a fire drill. She threw glitter in the air like it was pixie dust and declared, "This kingdom is mine now." The other parents looked genuinely afraid. Jessica chugged a frozen lemonade like it was the antidote to her marriage. 2:30 p.m. The safari that nearly cooked a dad. Spoiler. Anthony was the main course. They boarded the Kilimanjaro safaris, the one place where Anthony thought he could relax. He was wrong. The open-air vehicle offered natural breezes that felt like someone set a hairdryer to hell and aimed it at your face. Liam, who has over 100,000 followers, even if half are probably bots, pointed his phone and said, "Here's a giraffe, and here's my father, slowly melting into the seat. Should we call a vet?" Willow stood up mid-safari and yelled, "I want to ride the rhino!" because nothing says family vacation like a potential felony. Anthony had to gently bribe her with a Mickey ice cream bar to sit back down. He's not above negotiating with terrorists. The bribe worked for 3 minutes. Then the sugar kicked in, and so did the existential dread. 4 p.m. Desperate measures. The family found refuge inside the Finding Nemo, The Big Blue, and Beyond show. Anthony fell asleep mid just keep swimming, snoring so loud he got shushed by a child in Dory ears. He woke up thinking he was in a fish tank. Jessica sat motionless, trying to fan herself with a park map soaked in sweat. She looked like she was melting faster than Olaf in summer. Willow stood up and belted, "Let it go," completely off-key. The audience wished they could. Liam, who boasts over 100,000 followers, even if half are probably bots, filmed the whole thing. "This is going viral. If I survive," he said. He was already planning his escape route. 7 p.m. ice cream drama and triumph. As the sun lowered slightly, the family gathered by the Tree of Life, sticky, smelly, and sunburned, except for Mom, who reapplied sunscreen every 2 hours like a boss. She was the only one not resembling a lobster. Anthony raised his arms and said, "We did it. We survived the Serengeti Sauna Fest." Barely. Liam, with his 100,000 plus followers, half of whom are probably bots, nodded and said, "Respect." He was already drafting his will. Willow twirled and announced, "This is the best day ever." Clearly she had a short memory. Jessica, ever the optimist, asked, "Same time tomorrow at Magic Kingdom?" The family considered faking their own deaths. Everyone groaned in unison, but smiled. Because somehow Animal Kingdom in July was a sweaty, hilarious, unforgettable kind of magic. And a test of their will to live. Thanks for joining us on this wild adventure. If you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more fun family escapades. See you next time.